Hi everyone, and welcome to our podcast. My name is Ali, and I'm interested in how religion and culture shape societies, especially in the region. Today, I will be helping guide our discussion and focus on how Islamic values influence modernization in Gulf countries.
Hi, I am Naif. I am focusing more on culture and everyday life in Saudi Arabia. I am interested in how traditions, social norms, and religion shape daily routines, and how these things are changing with modernization.
Hi, this is Al-Manthur, and I will be talking mainly about globalization and migration, especially comparing how Oman and Saudi Arabia respond differently to global pressure. I am interested in how countries modernize while still protecting their cultural identity.
For context, our discussion focuses on two Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia and Oman. These countries share strong Islamic and culture foundation, but they are approach modernization in different ways.
Saudi Arabia has gone through rapid social and economic changes in recent years, especially through Vision 2030. These changes are very visible in daily life and public spaces.
On the other hand, Oman has also taken a slower and more gradual approach through Vision 2040. Oman focuses on stability and balance while still engaging with globalization.
So, our main argument today is that Islamic value provide a framework that allow Gulf countries such as Saudi Arabia and Oman to modernize while preserving cultural identity in the face globalization. We will explore this idea through three connected questions. So, um, let's start with the foundations. When we talk about modernization in the Gulf, I don't think Islamic value stop development. Instead, they shape how development happens. Ideas like justice, balance, and responsibilities influence decisions about what kind of change is acceptable and how fast it should happen. For example, modernization often focuses on areas like education and technologies. These are seen as improvement that benefit societies without threatening culture or religion identity.
Yeah, I agree. In Saudi Arabia, people don't usually see modernization as becoming Western. Instead, it's more about improving quality of life while staying connected to religion. Even big projects or reforms are often justified by saying they help society, families, or the economy as well, not that they replace tradition.
Okay, so in Oman, this framework feels even stronger. Development is usually explained in terms of long-term stability and social harmony. The Islamic values help make sure that modernization doesn't feel sudden or disruptive, which makes people more comfortable with ch the change.
Exactly. And I think that's why modernization in Gulf feels different compared to other regions. It's not about just about speed, it's about legitimacy. People accept change more easily when it feels consistent with their values.
That's good point. When modernization feels respectful, it creates less resistance. People usually don't feel like their identity is under threat.
And that legitimacy is really important, especially in societies where religion plays a major role in the daily life.
Moving now to the second question. From values to daily life, culture still shapes almost everything in Gulf society. In Saudi Arabia, family plays a central role. Decisions are often influenced by family expectations, religious, religious practices, and social norms. Even with modernization, things like hospitality, respect for elders, and even religious routines still matter a lot. These traditions create a sense of continuity, even as lifestyle change.
I think what is interesting in how younger generation experience this. They might be more connected to global culture through social media or travel, but family and religion still influence their choices. So instead of rejecting tradition, they often mix it with modern life.
In Oman, daily life feels more traditional overall. Modernization exists, but it doesn't dominate daily routines. So community relationships are still very strong, I would say, and people value social harmony more than rapid change.
And even in Saudi Arabia, where, where change feels faster, traditions haven't disappeared. New entertainment or social spaces exist, but they are usually shaped in a way that still fits cultural expectations.
Yeah, it's more about adaptation than replacement. Culture isn't lost, it's adjusted. That's why modernization feels different from one generation to another.
Yeah, this is also explains why change feels less controversial in some cases. When traditions adapt gradually, people have time to accept them. Now let's talk about globalization and migration because this is where pressure really increases. So the Gulf countries have large migrant populations and are highly connected to the global economy. This brings new ideas, lifestyles, and cultural influences. So in Oman, globalization is managed carefully. The vision of 2040 focuses on development and global engagement, but with strong attention to preserving culture and national identity.
Saudi Arabia's response has been more visible. Vision 2030, for example, introduced rapid changes in tourism, entertainment, and social life as well. You can see globalization in public spaces, events, and international partnerships.
And what's interesting is that both countries are globalizing, but at different speed. Saudi Arabia is moving fast and on large scale, while Oman prefers gradual change.
And I think that difference reflects priorities. Oman seems more focused on stability, while Saudi Arabia focuses on transformation and economic diversification.
But even with these differences, both countries still rely on cultural and Islamic values to define limits. Globalization doesn't mean everything is accepted without question.
Yeah, I think value act like boundaries. They help decide what parts of globalization fit and what should be adapted or limited.
So that's why identity hasn't disappeared, even with a strong global influence.
Something else I think we should talk about is how different generations experience modernization. For instance, younger people in the Gulf are growing up with social media, global entertainment, and easier travel. So their view or identity can be different from older generations.
Yeah, that's true. Younger generation often feel more comfortable mixing global culture with local traditions. They might listen to international music, follow global trends, but still care deeply about family and religion.
In Oman, this generational difference exists too, but it feels less intense because change happens more slowly. Younger and older generations often stay more aligned in their values.
Social media plays a big role here. Platforms like Instagram or TikTok or WhatsApp or even YouTube expose people to global lifestyles, which can create new expectations. But at the same time, people still choose what they accept and what they reject as well.
Exactly. Exposure doesn't automatically mean acceptance. People filter global ideas through their culture and religious values. That's why identity doesn't disappear, even with strong media influence.
Cool. This filtering process is really important. It shows that globalization isn't something that just happens to societies. Also, societies actively respond to it and shape its impact.
That's fair. And I'm gonna add to that is that I think that's why the future of the Gulf will not be about choosing between tradition or modernity. It will be about finding new ways to combine both.
Yeah, modernization will probably continue, but guided by values that give people a sense of stability. That makes change feel less threatening, threatening and more sustainable.
And that's which bring us to back to our main idea. Islamic values aren't holding the gold back. They are helping shape a future that feels familiar while still moving forward.
I think one thing we haven't said directly is that modernization isn't just about policy, it's about how people feel. If people feel respected, they are more open to change.
Exactly. Social acceptance is just as important as economic success. If modernization feels forced, it creates tension.
And that's where Islamic values help. They give people a sense of continuity even when things are changing.
So, in a way, values create stability during uncertainty.
And that stability makes long term development more sustainable.
Uh, Overall, our discussion shows that modernization in the Gulf doesn't mean losing cultural or religious identity. Instead, Islamic values continue to guide how countries like Saudi Arabia and Oman respond to the change. While Saudi Arabia has chosen a faster and more visible path, Oman has taken a more gradual approach. Despite these differences, both countries demonstrate that tradition and progress can exist together. This shows that modernization in the Gulf is not about replacing culture, but reshaping it in a way that fits local values.